I really need to hand it to the guys that run Syphon Filter Central. They are a hardcore group of fans for Syphon Filter and help to keep this property alive and discussed about on a daily basis. I really love their posts on Twitter. It's always great to see some Syphon Filter come across your screen at any time of the day. It's a series that feels like it should still be going on today as well. I know that not everything should be going on continually. Sometimes you just need to know when to end it in the right place. Don't go on for too long. But in the case of Syphon Filter, I think we need this series back. Gamers are hungry for stealth action games. We want it back. I do think the genre is still a bit more niche compared to the other big franchises, but there is space for them here, and within this space, fans want them. Syphon Filter fans are very dedicated, and while they may not be in the largest of numbers, I think this number could grow if given the opportunity to have this series come back. Maybe a remaster, maybe a new game. But either way, I will be a proponent for pretty much anything Syphon related. What sort of created the idea for this video was a post that Syphon Filter Central made that stated, wouldn't this be a great thing to wake up to someday in the future? And it showed a picture of Syphon Filter 1 with the PS5 logo on it, implying some kind of remaster. I completely agree. This would be a great thing to wake up to. I am very biased. Of course I want more Syphon Filter. How can you not? The series is fantastic, and especially for me, those 3 PlayStation 1 games hold as a great trilogy of titles. If I had it my way, I would love to see another game continue in that style. Bring back the target lock, the cinematic camera sweeping, the tactical first-person aiming, the leaning, the running like you have a load in your pants, and especially the original Gabe voice actor. John, we would need you to be a part of this. My point with this is that if you're gonna do it, you need to do it right. It needs to be about what we loved about it so many years ago, and still do to this day. What I loved about Syphon Filter Central is that they took all of this just a step further. If we're going to remaster the first game, then why not the entire PlayStation trilogy? And I have to say, what a great idea that would be. Sony is definitely interested in their older games in some capacity. They have that classic catalog and they keep adding to it. That tells me that someone at Sony cares about this stuff. But I think as they keep developing games, maybe have a greater focus on the older titles, and it could be a great way for Sony to continue to grow, and maybe even strengthen their brand a bit too. Look, when I see what Sony has to offer gamers now, from my personal point of view, I really don't care what they are making. They seem to be more interested in these long-winded cinematic and pretentiously written action-adventure RPGs. They can sequels or games that I would have actually liked to have seen, like say Days Gone 2. I have found more reasons this generation to not own a PS5, especially with the shift towards PC releases, which in that part I think is good, but when mainly looking at the titles that they have to offer, I'm not really the target audience. And in a way, I feel abandoned by this company. I would happily look forward to what they have coming out, but maybe we need more stuff from the past. But a way to have a larger focus on that and bringing stuff back would be to remaster older titles. It would be a great way to get people like me back on board. I love Sony's history. I still want to play these games, but what you have for me now is really not for me. But what you had, what you used to make, how you once were, now that is something I love, and still love. Something like this could really strengthen what PlayStation is offering today. Sony could be like, hey, here's the new stuff we have, but also look at our history and catalog. See what we have done before. See what we've done to get here. Also, these games are still great, timeless even, and while many of these games have aged well, they could still even benefit from some nice improvements and tweaks that could really better the experiences overall. Even providing improved resolution and frame rates would be a great way to play the game better, or even offer options like being able to change the inversion of the controls, something that some of these games even during the PS2 era did not even have. Do not change the games, but present them a bit better. Add more options. Do not change, but preserve. To clarify, I want this as an overall thing, not just related to Syphon Filter. I think that is the key when it comes to Syphon Filter, preservation. I will be a strong advocate for this continually. I want remasters, I do not want remakes. I would love another sequel, again, no remakes. Let's say these first 3 PlayStation games. The games still play great today. Controlling Gabe and crew is great. Leaning and first-person aiming allows for those appreciated tactical options, whereas the roll and target lock gives you more run-and-gun options. The original Syphon Filter titles were built very well, but you know what would be even better? Bump that resolution up, improve those frame rates, make the game smoother. Something that I would be really happy with is pull from say like Tomb Raider or the Soul Reaver remasters, and provide a new graphical upgrade that could be toggled back and forth between the new and old graphics. Then you get the best of both worlds, new coat of paint on the same great game, or you can just play the same game with good performance enhancements while still retaining the original. I circle back to my remake comment. I don't want them to remake Syphon. I do think a good remake could be made, but it could probably be a situation where it would be an unneeded one, but still a good one of course. Again, the originals still play great. I worry a remake would not be able to replicate all the cool stuff that the originals had, like some of the non-linear levels, the figuring out type of design that really makes the player feel like a super spy, the cheesy but very entertaining voice acting, all of those elements. These and a lot more play into the identity of the series. I worry that it would turn into being more of a cover shooter, the remake I say, and while the PSP games very much are cover shooter heavy, part of that is they were trying to work on that limited hardware, so they get a bit of a pass for me. I am very cautious about a remake for Syphon Filter, but I do not want to say that a good one cannot be done. You just need the right team in place that actually cares about this series. One thing is certain is that Syphon Filter does need to come back. It's nice that most of the titles are available on the classic catalog. Now more people can play most of the games, but it is odd that the Omega strain is not part of it. That could benefit from a true remaster since it's more of a live service co-op game, and honestly I think today's audience would probably like it. We are still missing that entry, and hopefully it does come back as well. A Syphon Filter sequel. Well, the last one ended in a cliffhanger, but two of the big key pieces of talent left Bend Studios, so if whoever made the new game, they would need to be careful to stay consistent with the prior games. There's so many unknowns with all of this, and mostly this is just a discussion video, and a great excuse to just talk about a series and a set of games that I love. Syphon Filter is something I can always load up and have a great time with, no question about it. I would love a proper ending and some well done remasters. Truthfully, I have no idea if any of this will happen, but if the day comes where Syphon does make a return, and it's done with the care, respect, and talent of its legacy, well then I'll probably be right there singing its praises. But until then, I still have those older games. They are still great, and if you haven't played them, I highly think you should right now. What are your thoughts on all of this? Should Syphon come back? Can it come back? How would you like to see it return? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. Plus, if you're on Twitter, give the Syphon Filter Central account a follow too. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.